We are looking to enhance the top Trumps project from the YByte Python curriculum available at www.ybyte.in. Previously, we looked at how we can provide some information to the player as part of training. So, for example, we could tell the best card, or let's say in a tabular format, let's say the best 6 cards for any given category. Are quite flexible and quite interesting. In fact, we can provide a little bit more information which could be useful. We can provide some statistics. For example, we can tell, okay, look, there are 5 metrics of interest: height, floors, year built, and so on. We'll tell the player what is the min and the max for it, and also the average. So now, why does this help? How does this help? Well, because remember, the whole game is about trying to win. Now, when you see a certain card, you may not remember everything about that card, but when you know that, let's say, when you know the max and min and the average, you can kind of gauge that how good is this card for a given metric, and that could possibly help you in playing this better. Also, this gives us an opportunity to learn a new Python module, and hence I thought this bonus is also quite interesting. In fact, doing this is not all that hard. So I will get to my project here. I will create a new function, called, let's just go up here. I will just go and create, let's say, a new function. Let's call it, let's say, min, max, and average, min, max, av. Now, the idea here is that, look, I will provide so let me put a comment here, min, max, average of let's say of all the categories. Basically, let's say for height, for let's say floor, and so on, for all the categories. Now, I need to run this over all the different keys. So I just run a for loop here. Let's go and say for k, for example, in relevant keys, because those are my keys that I compete with. Basically, the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to extract the relevant metric into a list, right? So let's make a list here called metric, which is empty list, square brackets, remember, creates a list. Now I'm going to update this list here. So metric is, let's say, say float. So because we're dealing in numbers here, so I just go and say float, let's say card k for card in all cards. Now this is quite interesting. Basically, this is like saying that, look, for card in all cards, go and append to metric float card k. So it's kind of a bit more concisely done through this comprehension. And having done this, basically I have a list called metric, which contains, for example, height, for all the cards, or for example, number of floors in all the cards, and so on. In fact, now it's quite simple. I can just go and say, well, print, for example, let's say max for you know max for, let's say, kk. So max for k, actually in this case k is a relevant metric here. I just go and put max, say, metric. Likewise, I can put, say, min for kk, and I'm going to do a min over here. So min for kk, or k, I just put min metric over here. Now to get the average, I can import a module called statistics, quite powerful. I just go and say, well, import, let's say, statistics as st. So I just call this module statistics as st, and over here I just go and say, well, look, now to get the average, I can just go and put print, let's say, av for comma k is st dot mean. So mean is a function inside that st module, and that gives me the mean, or say the average of the metric. Now, in order to, let's say, not have too many decimal places like I was having earlier, I can go and do say round st metrics, let's say, until 2 decimal places. That is just nice, in fact, for this purpose. And really, that's all I need. So basically, as the k runs over this relevant categories, I will get all these metrics getting generated, and like I said, it becomes kind of useful. But in order for me to be making this a part of the training, I will go and call this as training itself. So once this happens, I can put, let's say, a print over here, and I can then say print now some stats, and I can then just call this min, max, and av. So min, max av, and I just call this function. That should be enough. So when I run this piece of code, I just say, yes, I do want training. So it tells me first the best cards, then it gives me bit more training. It tells me the top 4 cards, let's say, of all the different categories. And and notice that once that gets over, it tells me some more stats. So it turns out that, look, the max height for a building is 2717. The minimum height is 186. Max of floors is 163. And let's say the minimum is 8, and average is about 72. So kind of well placed, right? This is quite interesting. The minimum for a year built, remember year built, smaller the better, is 1373. That's actually, as we know, is Tower of Pisa, and the max is 2013. uh, Average is in fact 1966. So nice, because average is very close to the higher end. So that kind of shows the nature of the data, right? And similarly for the other categories. So like I said, this could make the game somewhat interesting and nice, enhancement to build. Again, building activities, enhancing them is a great way to learn Python, because once you build something, your concepts become that much more clearer and your thinking becomes that much more sharper. Look at our website www.ybyte.in, because that is how we learn Python programming at Ybyte. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.